I pulled into the driveway at 2:30 p.m., 3 hours earlier than usual. The factory had sent half the shift home because of equipment failure. Normally, I'd be annoyed about losing the hours, but that afternoon I was just tired and ready to crash on the couch. I grabbed my lunchbox from the passenger seat and headed for the front door. The house was quiet when I stepped inside. Her car was in the driveway, so I knew she was home, probably upstairs with the twins. I kicked off my boots in the entryway and was about to call out when I heard her voice coming from the kitchen. She was on the phone, and something about her tone made me stop. "Mom, I'm telling you, he has no idea." She laughed, that carefree laugh I used to love. The girls look nothing like him. Nothing. Everyone can see it except him. I froze. My hand was still on my lunchbox. I couldn't move. I know, right? 5 years, and he still hasn't figured it out. Another laugh. Child support is basically secured at this point. Even if he ever gets suspicious, he's already on the birth certificates. He's been dad this whole time. The blood drained from my face. I stood there behind the kitchen door, completely still, trying to process what I was hearing. My mother-in-law's voice came through the speaker, loud and clear. "You played that perfectly, sweetie. He works so much he barely pays attention anyway. And now you've got him locked in for at least 13 more years. 18 if I'm lucky," my wife said. The best part? He loves those girls so much he'd never even think to question it. He's too dumb to notice they have brown eyes, and we both have blue. They both laughed. Actual laughter. Like it was the funniest joke they'd ever heard. "You should have seen him last week," she continued. "He was showing me pictures from when they were babies, talking about how much they look like his side of the family." I just nodded and smiled. "It's almost too easy." "Well, you deserve it after everything," her mother said. "You're set for life now. Just keep him happy and working." "Oh, I will. He's very good at working. And paying bills." More laughter. I stood there for maybe 30 seconds, maybe a full minute. I don't know. Time felt strange. My heart was pounding so hard I thought they might hear it through the door. Then something clicked in my brain. Not anger. Not yet. Just clarity. I turned around, walked back to the entryway, picked up my boots, and left. I didn't slam the door. I didn't make a sound. I just got in my truck and drove. My hands were shaking on the steering wheel. I pulled over 2 blocks away and sat there, staring at nothing. The twins. Bella and Maya. 5 years old. Brown eyes, dark hair. I'd always thought they looked like her grandmother on her dad's side. But they weren't mine. The words kept echoing in my head. Too dumb to notice. Child support secured. I picked up my phone and searched for DNA testing labs. Found one that offered same-day appointments. I called them. "Yes, I need a paternity test. As soon as possible. Today, if you can do it." My voice sounded steady. I don't know how. The woman on the phone was professional. She had an opening at 4 p.m. I took it. "What samples do you need?" I asked. "Cheek swab is standard, but we can also work with hair samples if you have root follicles attached." "Hair samples. I can bring those." "Perfect. We offer expedited results for an additional fee. 72 hours instead of the standard 10 days. I'll pay whatever it costs." I hung up and drove home. She was still on the phone when I parked down the street. I waited 15 minutes until I saw her leave in her car, probably heading to the grocery store like she did every Thursday afternoon. I went inside and straight to the twins' bathroom. Their hairbrushes were right there on the counter, full of dark strands. I pulled several from each brush, making sure I got the roots, and put them in separate sandwich bags. I labeled them carefully. Then I went to my bathroom and pulled some of my own hair. 3 samples, all bagged and labeled. I was back in my truck by 3:45 p.m. The whole thing took maybe 10 minutes. At the clinic, the process was quick. The technician took my information, explained the testing procedure, and gave me a receipt. 72 hours. Results by email and postal mail. "Is there anything else we can help you with today?" she asked. "No, that's everything." I sat in the truck in the clinic parking lot and pulled up my contacts. Found the lawyer my buddy had used for his divorce 2 years ago. His name was Baxter. Ronald Baxter. I called the office. Got the receptionist. "I need to speak with Mr. Baxter about a divorce. It's urgent. He has an opening tomorrow morning at 9. Would that work?" "Perfect." She took my information and confirmed the appointment. I hung up and sat there, engine running, going nowhere. I looked at the photo on my dashboard. The twins at the beach last summer, building sandcastles. Smiling. Happy. They weren't mine. I'd been raising someone else's children for 5 years. Paying for everything. Food, clothes, medical bills, preschool. I'd gotten up at midnight for fevers. I'd read bedtime stories every single night I was home. I taught them to ride bikes. And the whole time, she knew. Her mother knew. They'd been laughing about it. I drove to a park and sat on a bench until it got dark. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I just sat there, watching kids play on the swings, trying to figure out how I'd missed it, trying to figure out what I was going to do next. Around 7 p.m., my phone started ringing. Her name flashed on the screen. I declined the call. She called again. I declined again. Then came the texts. Where are you? Are you okay? Why did you leave? Did something happen at work? I turned off my phone and drove to a motel off the highway. Paid cash for one night. Sat on the bed and stared at the wall until I fell asleep with my clothes on. When I woke up the next morning, I had 17 missed calls and 32 text messages. I didn't read them. I showered, got dressed, and drove straight to the lawyer's office. It was time to burn it all down. Ronald Baxter was in his 50s, gray hair, sharp suit, and the kind of handshake that told you he'd seen everything. His office smelled like coffee and leather. So, he said, sitting across from me, tell me what happened. I laid it out. The conversation I'd overheard. The DNA test I'd ordered. The 5 years of lies. He listened without interrupting, taking notes on a yellow legal pad. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair. First question, are you on the birth certificates? Yes, both of them. That complicates things, but it's not impossible. If the DNA test confirms what you suspect, we can file for fraudulent paternity. It's not common, but it's doable. You'll need to prove she knowingly deceived you about the children's parentage. I heard her admit it. On the phone with her mother. Did you record it? No. He nodded. Unfortunate, but not fatal. The DNA evidence will be strong enough. Now, here's what we need to discuss. If those children aren't yours biologically, you may be able to get removed from financial responsibility going forward. But here's the hard part. You've been acting as their father for 5 years. A judge might still require some level of support during the transition period. Transition period? Until the biological father is identified and takes over responsibility. Do you know who he is? No idea. We'll need to find out. Your wife will be compelled to disclose that information during proceedings. If she refuses, she'll be in contempt of court. I rub my face. What about the money I've already spent? 5 years of expenses. Can I get any of that back? Possibly. We can petition for reimbursement based on fraud. It won't be easy, and you won't get everything, but judges don't look kindly on paternity fraud. We can make a case. What do I do now? Right now, today. He tapped his pen on the desk. Go home. Act normal. Don't tip your hand until we have the DNA results in writing. Document everything. Save text messages, emails, bank statements. If she has a separate account or any hidden assets, we need to know about it. And whatever you do, don't move out of the house. If you leave, it can hurt you in the proceedings. She's texting me constantly. Wants to know where I was last night. Tell her you needed space. Work stress. Something vague. Don't engage too much. Just keep her calm until we're ready to move. I nodded. When do we file? The moment you get those test results. Email them to me immediately. I'll have the paperwork ready to go. We'll file for divorce and fraudulent paternity simultaneously. Hit her with everything at once. Good. He studied me for a second. How are you holding up? I'm fine. You don't look fine. I'll be fine once this is over. He handed me his card. Call me anytime. Day or night. We'll get through this. I left his office and sat in my truck for a few minutes. The plan was in motion. 72 hours until the DNA results. Then we'd blow everything up. I drove home. Her car was in the driveway. The twins' bikes were on the front lawn. Everything looked normal. Perfect, even. I walked in, and she was in the kitchen making lunch. She turned around and smiled like nothing was wrong. Hey, where were you last night? I was worried sick. Had to clear my head. Work stuff. You could have texted me back. Phone died. She walked over and kissed me on the cheek. Well, I'm glad you're okay. The girls missed you this morning. I forced a smile. Where are they? Upstairs playing. Do you want me to call them down? No, it's fine. I'll go up in a minute. She went back to making sandwiches. I watched her move around the kitchen like she always did, humming some song, completely oblivious. I went upstairs. The twins were in their room, building something with blocks. When they saw me, they both yelled "Daddy" and ran over. I hugged them. They smelled like shampoo and strawberries. Bella showed me the tower they'd built. Maya grabbed my hand and pulled me toward their toy chest. I played with them for 20 minutes, laughing at their made-up stories, helping them stack blocks higher. The whole time, I felt like my chest was being crushed. These weren't my daughters, biologically, but they didn't know that. They thought I was their father. They loved me because I'd been there every day of their lives. I excused myself and went to the bedroom, closed the door, and sat on the edge of the bed. Over the next 2 days, I went through the motions. I showed up to work. I came home. I played with the twins. I had dinner with her. She talked about her day, complained about one of her friends, mentioned needing new tires on her car. I just nodded and made the appropriate sounds. At night, I'd wait until she fell asleep. Then I'd get up and go through her things. Found a second phone tucked in her gym bag. Locked. I didn't try to open it. Just took a picture of it and sent it to Baxter. I checked the bank statements. She'd been transferring small amounts to an account I didn't recognize. $50 here, $80 there. Not enough to raise alarms, but over 5 years it added up. I documented everything. I found receipts for a hotel 3 towns over, dated from 6 years ago, right around the time she would have gotten pregnant. I took pictures of everything, built a file on my laptop, backed it up twice. She didn't notice. She was too comfortable, too confident that I'd never figure it out. On the 3rd morning, I woke up at 5 a.m. and checked my email. Nothing yet. The clinic had said 72 hours. That would put the results around 4 p.m. today. I went to work. Couldn't focus. Kept checking my phone every 20 minutes. At 3:47 p.m., the email came through. DNA test results. Case number 84729. My hand shook as I opened it. 2 tests. Bella and Maya. Probability of paternity, 0%. Probability of paternity, 0%. I sat there staring at the screen. I'd known it was coming. I'd heard her say it with my own ears. But seeing it in writing made it actual, made it undeniable. I forwarded the email to Baxter with one line. It's confirmed. Let's move. He replied within 5 minutes. Come to the office tomorrow at 8 a.m. Bring every document you have. We're filing by noon. I closed my laptop and walked out of the building. Told my supervisor I had a family emergency and needed the rest of the day. He didn't ask questions. I drove to a park and sat in my truck until the sun went down. Then I drove home. She was in the living room watching some show. The twins were already in bed. Hey, you're late. Everything okay? Yeah, just had some stuff to finish at work. There's pasta in the fridge if you're hungry. I'm good. I went upstairs, brushed my teeth, and got into bed. She came in a few minutes later and curled up next to me. Love you, she said. I didn't answer. Just closed my eyes and waited for morning. Tomorrow, everything would change. I walked into Baxter's office at 7:55 a.m. with a folder full of everything I'd collected. Bank statements, receipts, screenshots, the DNA results printed out and highlighted. He spread it all across his conference table like he was assembling a puzzle. This is good, he said, flipping through pages. This is very good. The second phone, the transfers, the hotel receipt from 6 years ago. This paints a clear picture of deception. What's our next move? We file a petition for divorce based on irreconcilable differences and fraudulent misrepresentation. Simultaneously, we file a motion to disestablish paternity for both children. We're also requesting full reimbursement of all child-related expenses for the past 5 years, plus legal fees. Will that actually work? The reimbursement part. It's not guaranteed, but we have a strong case. Paternity fraud is one of the few situations where courts will consider financial restitution. We'll calculate every dollar you've spent. Diapers, formula, medical insurance, preschool, clothes, food, everything. He pulled out a calculator and a spreadsheet he'd already started. Rough estimate. We're looking at somewhere between $40,000 and $50,000 over 5 years. That includes direct costs and your share of household expenses attributed to the children. The number hit me harder than I expected. $50,000. 5 years of my life. Now, here's the critical part, Baxter continued. We need to identify the biological father. Your wife will be required to disclose his identity during proceedings. Once we know who he is, we'll pursue him for child support and potentially add him to the suit. What if she refuses to tell us? Then she's in contempt of court. The judge won't be sympathetic. She's already committed fraud. Refusing to cooperate will only make things worse for her. When do we serve her? Baxter checked his watch. Papers will be ready by 2 p.m. today. Now, I need to ask you something important. Where does your wife go regularly? Somewhere public where she'll be around people she knows. She does Pilates. Tuesday and Thursday mornings at 9 a.m. Place called Corfit Studio downtown. Perfect. We'll have her served there tomorrow morning. Public service ensures there are witnesses, and it sends a message. A message that you're not playing games. That this is happening whether she likes it or not. It also prevents her from hiding or avoiding service. I nodded. Do it. He made a note. One more thing. I'm going to recommend you open a separate bank account today. Transfer your paycheck there starting immediately. You don't want her draining your joint account once she's served. Already done. Switched it yesterday. Smart. Now let's talk about the house. Are you both on the lease or mortgage? Lease. Both names. Good. That simplifies things. When the lease ends, you'll have options. For now, I'd recommend staying put. Don't give her any ammunition about abandonment. We spent the next hour going through every detail. He explained the timeline, the court dates, what to expect. By the time I left his office, I felt like I was heading into battle with a clear strategy. I went to work but couldn't focus. Kept thinking about tomorrow morning. About her face when she got served in front of everyone. That evening, I came home and everything was normal. She'd made dinner. The twins were laughing about something that happened at daycare. We ate together like we'd done 1,000 times before. After dinner, I helped clean up while she gave the twins a bath. I could hear them splashing and giggling upstairs. When they were in bed, she came downstairs and sat next to me on the couch. You've been quiet lately, she said. Is everything okay? Just tired. Work's been busy. Maybe we should go away for a weekend. Just the two of us. My mom could watch the girls. I almost laughed. Yeah, maybe. She put her head on my shoulder. I love you, you know that. Sure. She didn't seem to notice that I didn't say it back. The next morning, I got up early. She was still sleeping. I got dressed for work, kissed the twins goodbye, and left. I didn't go to work. I drove to a coffee shop 2 blocks from Corfit Studio and parked where I had a clear view of the entrance. At 8:52 a.m., her car pulled into the lot. She got out wearing athletic clothes, carrying a yoga mat and water bottle. She walked in like she didn't have a care in the world. At 9:14 a.m., a man in a suit walked into the studio. Process server. Baxter had hired someone professional, someone who wouldn't cause a scene but would get the job done. I sat there, drinking coffee, waiting. At 9:31 a.m., my phone buzzed. Text from Baxter. Served. She signed. I sat there for another 10 minutes, then drove to a diner and ordered breakfast. My phone started ringing at 9:47 a.m. Her name on the screen. I let it go to voicemail. She called 6 more times in the next hour. I didn't answer. Then came the texts. What is this? Call me now? This is insane. We need to talk about this. You can't just do this. Answer your phone. I turned my phone on silent and finished my eggs. Around noon, Baxter called. How are you holding up? I'm fine. What happens now? Now we wait for her response. She has 30 days to file an answer to the divorce petition. The paternity hearing is scheduled for 6 weeks from today. In the meantime, I'd expect her to try everything to contact you. Don't engage. All communication goes through me from this point forward. Understood. One more thing. I did some digging into that hotel receipt you found. Called the hotel, talked to their manager. They keep records for 7 years. I explained the situation, and they're willing to provide records if we subpoena them. What kind of records? Check-in logs. Credit card payments. If she used her card, we'll know exactly when she was there and possibly who she was with if he used his card too. Do it. Already filed the subpoena. We'll have those records in 2 weeks. I hung up and went back to work. Told my boss I'd had a personal emergency, but everything was handled now. My phone kept buzzing all afternoon. Her mother, her sister. I ignored all of it. When I got home that evening, her car was gone. The house was empty. She'd left a note on the kitchen counter. We need to talk. I'm at my mother's with the girls. Call me. I crumpled the note and threw it away. My phone rang. Baxter. She's already trying to negotiate, he said. Her mother called my office. Wants to set up a mediation meeting. No, that's what I told them. I said all communication goes through official channels. She'll have to respond to the petition in writing. Good. One more thing. The hotel records came back faster than expected. Your wife checked in on March 17th 6 years ago. Paid with her credit card. But here's the interesting part. Someone named Owen Caldwell checked into the same hotel, same night, room right next door. My stomach dropped. Owen Caldwell. You know him? That's her ex-boyfriend. From before we got married. Well, Baxter said, I think we just found our biological father. The next morning, I woke up to 43 missed calls. I deleted every voicemail without listening. Baxter called at 8. Owen Caldwell is married. Lives in the next county. Works as an operations manager at a distribution center. I've already drafted a notice informing him of the paternity results and his legal obligations. When does he get it? Today, along with a court order requiring a DNA test. He can't dodge this. What about her? She filed an emergency motion asking for temporary custody and support. Judge denied it pending the paternity hearing. She's spiraling. I almost smiled. Good. That afternoon, I got a call from an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. You son of a... It was her mother, screaming. How dare you do this to her? To those children, tell your daughter I know everything. Every lie, every detail, and tell her she's done. Those girls think you're their father. That's not my problem anymore. You both made sure of that. I hung up and blocked the number. 2 days later, Baxter called with an update. Owen Caldwell took the DNA test. Results came back this morning. He's the father. Both girls. And here's the best part. His wife just filed for divorce. She found out about the affair and the kids on the same day. What's he doing about child support? His lawyer is negotiating, but he'll have to pay. Court will determine the amount at the hearing. We're estimating around $1,200 a month for both children. And my reimbursement? We're pushing for $47,000. She'll have to liquidate assets to pay you. Her car, jewelry, anything of value. The judge is actually sympathetic to your case. Paternity fraud rulings are rare, but when they happen, courts don't mess around. 3 weeks passed. She tried showing up at my workplace twice. Security escorted her out both times. She sent letters, emails, even had her sister try to ambush me at a gas station. I ignored everything. The paternity hearing was scheduled for a Thursday morning. I wore a suit. She showed up looking exhausted, her mother beside her. The judge reviewed everything. DNA results, hotel records, bank statements, the recording equipment I'd installed in my house after the first conversation. I'd caught 3 more discussions between her and her mother planning their strategy. Her lawyer tried arguing that I'd acted as the father for 5 years and should continue supporting the children during transition. The judge shut it down. Mrs. Brennan knowingly deceived her husband about the paternity of these children for 5 years. This court does not reward fraud. Paternity is disestablished effective immediately. Mr. Caldwell is ordered to pay child support. Mrs. Brennan is ordered to reimburse her husband $47,000 within 90 days. She started crying. Her lawyer asked for an extension. The judge gave her 120 days. Outside the courthouse, she tried approaching me. Please, we can fix this. The girls need you. I kept walking. I made a mistake. One mistake. I stopped and turned around. You made a choice. Every single day for 5 years. You chose to lie. You chose to laugh about it with your mother. You chose to call me too dumb to notice. Now you get to live with those choices. I got in my truck and drove away. She sold her car the next week. Started working 2 jobs to pay me back. I never saw those girls again. That part hurt more than I expected. But I'd done what I had to do, and I walked away with my dignity. 3 months after the hearing, I ran into one of her friends at the hardware store. She recognized me and walked over. I just want you to know, we had no idea, she said quietly. What she did was unforgivable. Nobody talks to her anymore. I nodded. Thanks. She lost her job, you know. The story got around. Her boss didn't want the drama. I didn't respond. Just grabbed my supplies and left. Through mutual acquaintances, I heard pieces of what happened to her. She'd moved in with her mother permanently. The house she'd been renting got foreclosed after she couldn't make payments. Owen Caldwell was paying child support, but barely. His own divorce had wrecked his finances. Her mother's friends stopped inviting them to events. The Pilates studio asked her not to come back. Too much gossip, too many uncomfortable conversations. She tried reaching out one last time, 6 months after everything finalized. A handwritten letter showed up at my place. I destroyed everything. I know that now. I'm sorry doesn't cover it. The girls ask about you sometimes. I don't know what to tell them. I hope someday you can forgive me, even though I don't deserve it. I read it once, then burned it in the kitchen sink. Baxter called a week later. Final payment just cleared. $47,000, plus the court-ordered interest. You're done. Good. How are you doing? Really? Getting there. One day at a time. I'd started seeing someone from work. Nothing serious yet, but it felt good to have conversations that weren't about betrayal and court dates. I'd moved into a smaller place closer to the factory. Quiet neighborhood, good neighbors. My buddy invited me to a cookout that weekend. I almost said no, but forced myself to go. Being around people felt strange at first, but after a couple beers, I started to relax. Someone asked about the divorce. I kept it short. It didn't work out. I'm better off now. They didn't push. Just nodded and changed the subject. Standing there, watching people laugh and kids run around, I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Peace. She tried to trap me. Tried to make me her permanent paycheck while laughing behind my back. Instead, I'd walked away. Made her pay for every lie. Every dollar. Every day of deception. Some people called me cold. Said I should have thought about the kids. But those weren't my kids. Never were. And I wasn't going to spend the rest of my life paying for someone else's betrayal. I finished my beer, tossed the can in recycling, and joined the conversation. For the first time in a long time, the future felt like mine again. A year later, I was doing better than I ever expected. The woman from work, her name was Juliet, we'd been dating for 8 months. She knew the whole story, didn't judge, just listened and let me process it at my own pace. I got promoted at the factory. Better pay, better hours. Used some of the reimbursement money to buy a reliable truck, put the rest in savings. I heard through the grapevine that my ex had moved 2 hours away. Couldn't handle seeing people who knew what she'd done. Her mother sold the house and moved with her. They were both working retail jobs, barely scraping by. Owen Caldwell's life imploded too. Lost his marriage, lost half his assets in the divorce, and now paid child support to my ex. His own kids from his actual marriage wanted nothing to do with him. Sometimes I thought about Bella and Maya, wondered if they remembered me, wondered what lies she told them about why I disappeared. But I couldn't let myself go down that road. They had a father now, the right one, the biological one. That wasn't my responsibility anymore. One Saturday morning, Juliet and I were at a diner having breakfast. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Text message. I see you moved on. Good for you. I hope she knows what kind of man she's got. You threw away 2 little girls who loved you. You'll regret that someday. I showed Juliet the message. She read it and looked at me. You gonna respond? No. She's just trying to make herself feel better about what she did. I blocked the number and put my phone away. You ever regret it? Juliet asked. Walking away. From her? Not for a second. From the situation? Every day? But I didn't create that situation. She did. And I'm not going to spend my life paying for her lies. She squeezed my hand. You did the right thing. We finished breakfast and headed to the hardware store. I was building shelves for the garage, and she was helping. Normal stuff. Good stuff. That evening, sitting on my porch with a beer, I thought about where I'd been a year ago. Broken. Furious. Questioning everything. Now, I had my life back. My dignity. My future. She tried to destroy me. Instead, she destroyed herself. And I was okay with that. I took a long drink, watched the sun go down, and smiled. This was my life now. Nobody's fool. Nobody's paycheck. Nobody's backup plan. Just mine. And that was exactly how it should be.